G'day there, guys. Yes, unfortunately, I was kicked out of the private White House party that Obama invited me to with Ripe and Mark narrations. This is a sad day. Can I get an RIP in the chat? Anyway, thank you for sticking around. We'll get through this. G'day there, guys. It's your main man, Markee, and welcome back to another episode of r/AmITheA. Now, if you love today's bloody good content, smack like on this video, sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie. Don't forget that. And enjoy today's bloody good content. Let's go. Am I the a-hole for informing the municipality that my neighbour's front yard is dangerous? So last week while going on a run, I tripped and nearly fell when I walked around the first corner. My neighbour with a house on the corner had apparently just paved his front yard. Not only that, the tiles were the same colour as the sidewalk, but they were a few centimetres higher, and overall he did a really crappy job on putting them in. He clearly did not pay a professional to do this for him. I confronted him about this, explaining that I think this is a danger for people who walk there. And he disagreed, claiming people had no business walking over his property. So I contacted the municipality to inform them that I think he created a dangerous situation and whether this was allowed. And apparently it was not. The municipality forced him to remove the tiles from his yard and gave him a fine for causing a dangerous situation. However, the neighbour immediately knew that it had to be me who snitched, and also informed my other neighbours that I'm a Nazi who turns in his own neighbours. It doesn't help I'm the only white person on the block. I am relatively new in this city and neighbourhood, so I'm not aware of any social rules, and I certainly did not want to make enemies with all my neighbours. So my question is, am I the a-hole for informing the municipality that my neighbour's front yard is illegal and dangerous? And edit, I want to point out that he made the situation in such a way that people will walk through his yard not knowing that this isn't part of the sidewalk. If he thinks people should stay out of his yard, he should not change the situation in such a way that people do not realize that they are walking through his yard. You don't want to make enemies with your neighbors, and you also rat people out to the city for changing their yard. Pick one, OP. I think it's pretty obvious. By the tone of your post, you clearly think you're in the right as well, so I don't know why you bothered posting this one at all. So just because of that, I'm gonna go with you're the a-hole, and I think you should realize that you are. This seemed like a bad move, and you don't seem to care all too much, so why should I care? Now in the comments, AbbaZabba says, I'm so confused by your story. I'm confused what a paved front lawn looks like. Is it technically a lawn anymore if it's paved? I can't even picture what you're describing, but I'm more confused as to why you trespassed on someone's property and then complained to them about it, and ratted them out to the city, so that you could walk on their lawn without tripping. How are you not the a-hole in this story? Seriously, you're the a-hole. Also, I googled paved tiled front lawn, and mostly it's pictures of backyard patios and tiled walkways and driveways came up. But OP makes it sound like the whole front yard is tile. Sorry, I'm just a really visual person and I cannot picture what is being described here. I still think OP is the a-hole for trespassing regardless, but this is making my brain itch. I'm as confused as you are. I've seen slum areas that literally have enough space that you can tell what's the sidewalk and what's the yard. And there's no bushes to hide those either. The rest for the wicked says, changing my vote to you're the a-hole because your reply seems entitled AF. He's right. People have no business cutting across his property. That is pretty rude. OP said it looked exactly like the sidewalk though, so can one realistically tell the difference is really the question. So OP doesn't know their own neighborhood well enough to reason that the shape of his property and the sidewalk didn't magically change shape. In most municipalities, a corner is a corner. It's not rocket science. You think everyone memorizes the exact width of every sidewalk in their neighborhood? It's a freaking corner, man! If you can't navigate a corner without being messy about it, you have bigger problems. It's not rocket science. And T-Rose says, you're the a-hole. It was his yard. Stay on the sidewalk. Congrats on having all your neighbors hate you now. And our next post is by user LegitimateMilk2515, titled, Am I the a-hole for not going to my brother's wedding? Hi all, I'm a 21-year-old female, and I'm not going to my brother's wedding, and I need you to tell me if I'm the a-hole for it. My brother is 24. For some backstory, I struggle with my mental health. Severe anxiety, severe depression, and COVID-19 has made that so much worse. My brother moved out of home back in 2019, and we used to be really close until he moved out. But I was also close with his now fiancé. They both used to text me constantly, ask me how I was doing, etc., etc. We used to call and even hang out, but then lockdown hit and we could only FaceTime/call each other. I was one of the first people told that he was proposing to her. He sent me the ring before he showed anyone else and told them. We were really close. I was also really close to his fiancé. They got engaged and the texts slowly faded from her side. She would only text me once a month, maybe twice, and I thought, oh, okay, planning a wedding, gonna be busy. And then one day the texts just stopped. I kept texting, but I got no response. Come around a year before their wedding, all of the bridesmaids are announced, and I'm not one of them. Okay, cool. It's their wedding, they can do what they want. I'm genuinely not asked. Groomsmen are announced, and my boyfriend is a groomsman? Which is odd because as far as I'm concerned, my boyfriend and my brother have never had one-on-one conversations in the entirety that I've been with him. 6 years, almost 7. Me and my brother had a huge argument about the way that he's treated me recently. No texts, no calls. Not being involved in the wedding, whereas my partner is? And my brother blamed it on my mental health. Okay, fair one. It's a bit of a crapper, but I can't help it. I just work around it. Recently, I got a new job after being laid off due to the pandemic, and I'm really proud of myself and I wanted to tell my brother. He literally didn't even say, "I'm proud of you." He just said, "Cool." That sucked, but moving on. I don't want to go to this wedding. I don't want my partner standing up there in a tie that won't match my dress. I don't want my partner having photos taken with bridesmaids, all matching when I won't be. I don't want to sit in a church watching my brother get married and pretend to be happy about it when all he has done for the past year is belittle me and belittle my mental health and use that as a weapon against me. Throughout all of this, my boyfriend was hospitalized and almost died twice. He's fine now, thank God, but neither of them reached out to either of us to see if he was okay. His fiancé hasn't texted me at all, hasn't replied to any of my texts or picked up my calls. Am I the a-hole? I probably am, but I'm genuinely just really hurt. Edit. My boyfriend hasn't accepted the info of being a groomsman. He's basing it on how I feel because he isn't close to my brother at all, and even he thinks it's weird that he was asked. Now I have this new job, and I could afford anything they needed to. The wedding is in a year. Edit 2. Thank you for all the comments. I should have added more backstory, I guess. Here's more. You change your opinions if you want. So my parents were going through a lot last year. They were so close to divorcing, which is why my brother and I were a lot closer. Now, during the lockdown, I was my mother's confidant. She came to me with every problem about my dad and put a lot of nasty opinions in my head about him. She had no outlet, so she used me. And my brother didn't think that was cool. He was concerned about my mental health, which is why we are texting a lot more. I was not aware that my mother was also using my brother as a confidant, and when things healed up with my dad, I was still left with a lot of trauma and unresolved feelings, hence the diagnosis with depression and anxiety, which in turn was a catalyst for a lot of problems with my mother. We used to argue constantly, and she would text my brother, who is the GC, and like she did with me and my dad, she swayed opinions. I'm not using this to justify anything at all. I'm aware of how mental health affects other people, and not just the person with the actual mental health issue. I'm just putting this as more history as to why mine and my brother's relationship could have become estranged. It's not just about the texting or anything, it's about the way he makes me feel. He constantly belittles me in front of the family, despite knowing how much I struggle, and honestly, me wondering whether I should go to the wedding is just an accumulation of everything he's ever said and done to me over the past year. I'm just tired of being belittled by someone who is supposed to love me. My brother asking my boyfriend to be a groomsman was not an olive branch. It was a deliberate dig from both him and his fiancée, knowing that I felt upset about not being told something I already assumed, because we had had a conversation prior to him asking my boyfriend about the entire thing, and he was super nasty about it. I don't know if any of this makes sense, but I'm coming to the conclusion that I am the asshole, and I'm just gonna suck it up and go. Now to the comments. Never a Thought says the same thing. I have no judgment because this is bizarre. My suggestion is to tell your boyfriend to decline the groomsman's request. Go to the wedding, get some free food, show face, leave early, and let it be for now. It'll all come to a head eventually, but if you try to take a stance right now, you'll look like the a-hole and probably won't be able to rationalize it to your family. And Dagny the Spencer replies, I'm with you. Skipping the wedding completely is petty AF. OP, talk to your brother. Let him know that you were disappointed and that you weren't included in the bridal party and that your boyfriend is coming as your +1, but not his groomsman. My opinions are good says, I can't tell you if not going to this wedding is going to make you the a-hole or not, but I can guarantee you that not going to the wedding is going to make you look like an a-hole to your brother and other members of the family. And OP replies, that's what I was thinking, but I also don't just want to go to just keep up appearances, you know? And they reply, I guess you have to decide which is worse, don't you? Going and having a bad time or not going and dealing with the familial fallout before and after. And OP replies, both of these outcomes suck. True. In this case, I'd look at duration. Going to the wedding will suck for like 4 hours. Get through the wedding, the dinner, listen to a speech or two, then dip. Not going, the fallout could last years and just keep snowballing. Sometimes life is about choosing between what hurts and what hurts worse. There's discomfort and a sucky situation regardless, but which one will suck worse, short term and long term? That unfortunately is life. A huge part of life is taking the choices that you find less sucky and trying to make the best of it. In this case, I'll echo the others saying to have your boyfriend turn down the invite to be a groomsman. You should still go to the wedding, eat the free food at the reception, visit those in your family you do like, then duck out early. It's not the perfect option, this is true, but unfortunately, we rarely have the perfect option available to us and have to make do with what we've got. And Kittens and Cheese for Life say, everyone sucks here. This wedding isn't about you, but it is truly bizarre that they would include your boyfriend in the wedding party and not you. I would go to the wedding, but ask your boyfriend to just be guest and realize that you can no longer rely on your brother for emotional support. I would also ask your brother to stop letting your mother come between the two of you. A lot of people just have no clue how to deal with those of us with depression, and they may not want to invite us to join things because they worry it'll bring everyone down, or to be generous, that it might stress you out. But including your boyfriend in the wedding party and not you? Nuts! I am so sorry your brother and his fiancée have proved to be fair weather friends for you. I know planning a wedding is stressful, but honestly, that's no excuse for dropping loved ones who need your support. In reality, when the going gets tough, you find out who your real friends are, and that realization can be sad. Have your boyfriend decline the groomsman position, but maybe go to the wedding? Yes, they aren't the people in your life who they were before, but while what they have done has been hurtful, your not going would most likely cause a rift in the family that would be hard to come back from. Our next post is by user Baby Ring Throwaway, titled, Am I the a-hole for insisting my baby have both of our last names? So me, 37 female, and my partner, 36 male, are expecting a baby girl in August. Despite being together for 6-ish years, we're not going to get married because I think marriage is incredibly sexist and outdated. I want to give her both of our last names because it's my baby too. My significant other thinks this is ridiculous because combined, our surnames are 19 letters, and the names we've picked out, Artemis Arielia, is super long too. So all in all, it's 34 letters, and to give her that expansive a name would be mean. I don't give a crap because I'm the one giving birth, and that should be reflected in her name. Am I the a-hole? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the a-hole. I understand that an extraordinarily long name might lead to bullying and or confusion down the line, and I might be acting stubborn. I can understand the need to be acting stubborn, but I can also understand his confusion here because it does break societal norms and it's a bit left of center. So I can't blame him for what he's going through here. I don't think it's unreasonable, and I don't think it's particularly a huge issue. At the end of the day, you guys both have to come to an agreement on this baby's name, and that is that. So I'm gonna go with no a-holes here. Now in the comments, Laura Kershaw says, no a-holes here. Ask your significant other if he would be okay using only your last name and see what he says. If he's okay with that, it'll show that he only does care about the length of the name, in which case, maybe cut out the middle name or find another compromise. If he makes a big fuss about it, then you'll know it's either a sexist or egotistical reason, and you can go from there. Completely agree. I highly doubt it's because of the length. It's because of the societal expectation to put the father's last name, even if not married, which is ridiculous. But there is a chance it's because it's a long name though, so OP should definitely follow what you suggested. There's always good old hyphenation, but for heaven's sake, OP needs to make sure the baby's first name isn't embarrassing or something that'll get her bullied wherever it is that you live. The first part sounds really long. Also keep in mind the troubles you'll have with forms and applications and such. Long last names are not very fun. Artemis is a reasonable first name. Yeah, sure, if your father is Zeus. Parenting Tryhard says, you're the a-hole for not giving a crap about saddling your child with a long, unwieldy name with a middle name that is difficult to spell, and it's unclear how to even pronounce it. But you are not the a-hole for wanting to bestow your last name. Feel free to do so, but I urge you to think of the overall name and length. Give your child a name that will not add unnecessary difficulties to their life. Second this, Artemis is a nice name and not that hard if you're into a bit of Greek mythology, but that middle name, I'm sorry, but that name won't do the child any favors. It's hard to spell, and how the F is it pronounced? Parents shouldn't think of themselves when naming a child, but about the child and the consequences its name is going to have. I would kick the middle name that they have and just give the baby both last names. There probably won't be multiple Artemises on the playground or in the classroom, so only one name should be fine. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. Friendly reminder that I'm now posting daily on my second channel, Markee 2. If you want to laugh at memes with me, link is down in the description below. On phone, you just click that little arrow underneath the video. I also want to say thank you to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. Your names are currently floating down the screen here, and I love to see all of you guys. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate it. If you see yourself on screen, I want you to give yourself a big pat on the back for being amazing as always, and thank you for supporting me again. I do hope that you guys have a good day, night, sleep, whatever it is you're up to. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.